Yeah. Feeling kind of live. Now everything is dialed in. Feeling good. Let's go. Let me know. We live with it. Do, do,
We
do.
live. We live out here. What's going on out there? It's Jet Vibes in here. We putting the bars in the air. Yeah.
We in the
Y'all didn't
game.
even know.
Yo, it's your man
Let's go.
GMBO, you genius and Ferdinand. What we got for you tonight is Jet Vibes, man. It's just vibing out on a good
A little
Tuesday,
late night flavor.
May, a little late night vibing. Good. You have a good day today. Tell me about your day. So you have a good day. Start off with the schematics, all the good stuff. I mean, start off with the salutations and all the good vibes. Good vibes and
Oh
all.
man, great day. Did some rebuilding on my website. Always doing some reading. Always doing some spending some time with my children, with my family, and just keeping balance.
Mhm.
Blessed.
Okay, okay. Well, today, in the words of Ice Cube, I have to say, today,
It was a good day. It was a good day.
not one single.
That's what's up.
Good things are happening in the neighborhood. Good vibes, spring vibes are just in the air. The trees have leaves and they're green
Thanks.
again. The sun is shining. The sky blue. Clouds bright and fluffy.
Can't beat that.
Wow, I got no complaints. It's just good to be alive up in this piece, man.
Thanks.
Vibing with the bro.
Hey, so we got a guest in the building. We got a special guest in the building. We got brother Brian in the building. I'm about to bring him to the stage. We're about to talk a little bit about what's going on in the music industry. Hey, Brian, what's going on?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Oh, doing fantastic, man. Hey, so there's some things going on in the music industry, man. Give us a little rundown of what's going on out here.
Oh, in the music industry?
Absolutely.
Um, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's been a large void in letting out new stuff. Like, I don't know if that's just people not like releasing things or like the platforms are just too spread out. It's kind of like, the Tower of Babel, you know what I mean? Like it's like they just give them too many languages and everybody spreads everything out. Um, but yeah, you don't see like large movements other than ones that have been around. Like we're not making new stuff. We're just kind of spinning out the old things again and again. I don't know.
Okay. Well, what do you think about music's influence on people's behavior?
Oh, I think it's um, super important to recognize and focus on. Uh, I think like as a sound healer, which is something that I do when I'm not, um, doing the other things that I do.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, when I do sound healing work, music affects people directly. It helps them retune and reharmonize themselves into whatever they're doing in their life. Um, Insofar as like the music industry, like and that kind of scene, I do feel like there's like I don't know, people are like things aren't being released because we're all kind of holding our breath to see what's going to happen in the world. Like that one song that just came out, that Macklemore song, I thought was a really important song, talking about what's happening with Israel and Palestine and getting things moving and getting things to change and for us to realize what's actually happening in the world instead of just standing by and watching all the bad things happen. You know,
Sure.
calling things out directly as they are. I mean, that's what music's all about. It's about addressing things, transforming things, making things find a higher harmonic to exist in.
Well, you know what? Let's dive into that, right? So when we talk about transforming things, how do we transform? How does a person transform out of such bad behavior as what we've seen from Diddy?
Oh, okay. So, um, with all things, it all forms of healing come down to a part of self forgiveness and self healing. Every grudge that we hold, we're holding against ourselves. You know, um, I mean, Diddy stuff's a pretty deep well of things. With like the human trafficking and all those things. I mean, that's some pretty deep stuff to worry about. Societally, like for us, how do we deal with that? Like, essentially, it's just another form of slavery. It's really not okay. Um, and it needs to be addressed directly, just like that. Not in a way that's skirting around the bullshit, and like saying, oh, it's really this or it's really that. No, it's directly what just happened. Like how do we address that as a society as a whole and heal from it and acknowledging that he was a part of that or whatever it was, as they finally flesh it out, but still shield us from it. Like, I don't know, our our country has a lot of big holes in its ability to address things that are really important.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Go ahead, continue.
Oh yeah, yeah, and we're just like we're skirting around things. We're trying to pretend like, oh, this isn't what's happening, and there's some really bad shit happening in the world right now. And the more that we can actually address it, that's why that I mentioned that Macklemore song. Like I thought that was such a big deal. Like even Andy calls it out. He's like, I don't need to respond to Drake. Like it's not about the BS. Like it's not about the shields and the illusions they're putting in front of us. It's about really addressing things directly and using music as a tool to do that. I mean, music is the vibration of what we sit in. So if we're all just going to be sitting there listening to Taylor Swift crap, then that's all that we're going to be able to handle, right? Or like Beyonce making a country album. I think that's kind of cool that she did that, and I think it's great to bridge the gaps in all the different forms. I think that's one of our solutions that's going to help us make us get through all this. Is if we can all
Absolutely,
find a
absolutely.
commonality.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Like
appreciate you giving us that measure. Hey, J.E., you seem like you had something to add. What's up?
Well, you brought up the point, Brian, that America has a bit of apprehension speaking to these things. I like kind of like what Farrakhan said. What Farrakhan was talking to, we had an interview, and the interviewer spoke about an African nation being the worst nation in the world, and he was like, "How dare you? Like America has done all these things. I think you just be quiet." You know what I'm saying? Like the fuck are you talking about? So, and I think that's a point that needs to be made when it comes down to the Diddy situation. I mean, what we saw was a very egregious act. It was horrible. Um, those in hip hop have been hearing about things like this in regards to Diddy for quite some time. This is a pattern of behavior. His bodyguard spoke to him hitting his own mom. This is what his bodyguard said. This is some things I saw on YouTube. His bodyguard has said that he had spoke to somebody who had witnessed, Diddy hitting his own mother. This is years back, and they thought he would grow out of it. Is the comment that was made, and apparently he didn't. It got worse. However, it's a pattern of behavior that we could say to some degree. This is no excuse. These are things that were in his world was acceptable. A lot of people knew what was going on. A lot of people didn't say nothing about it because a lot of people may have been participating in some form or another, and that's the reason why a lot of people are quiet about that. So we talk about America saying Diddy's bad, or this. I don't think America
very
can hold
bad.
that point of view. I just think it needs to let's start healing from some of the trauma associated with the rapings that our forefathers, that Ferdinand and I's forefathers saw from the slave master. I guess they were so-called slave master, right? how the men had to sit back and watch as these men, these white men or others or whatever it may be, raped our woman right in front of our face, and we're gonna act like that didn't happen. And this is not to push away from what is going on with Diddy. I'm just saying let's look at the overall picture. We never really healed from that, or America has never really fully admitted that we know what's going on with it, but there's never no full admittance of we are sorry for what we did to your forefather. We're sorry for what we did to your ancestors. And at this point, I don't give a fuck about a apology. What does that mean? What does an
Right.
apology? Like I don't. People get so big on these apologies. Like I don't. What is an apology? What does that do? It doesn't stop the act. It doesn't stop the feeling. It doesn't stop the trauma. It gives it gives the it gives a view a overall look, a look of like almost like a facade. And
Mhm.
hmm, what is thank you? I mean, what is I apologize? Apologize to me is because the person who's apologizing may not even be feeling that like that. That's the thing. It just be I said apologize. I apologize, so it should be good now. And it
Right.
doesn't weigh none of that. It's just a facade of being contrite. That's what I'm kind of looking for. It's a contrite facade, and that person may feel it or not, but the trauma remains. That person who was done wrong to may have to go through years and years of therapy to kind of heal that. So I'm not big on apologies. I mean, like, you said it cool. You felt some type of remorse, I guess. But the deed was done. Healing needs to happen from the trauma. The healing needs to happen from all the things that were done. And now back to now this is again no excuse for what he's done, what you did. Like a lot of people could have succumbed to the trauma related abuse or whatever it may be and didn't, and was able to adjust through life and be the difference. I saw a lot of things in my dad that I didn't like, and I just made a vow to be different. I said, let me just do things a little different, and so, and the things I didn't like, I just didn't do. You know what I'm saying? And it just is what
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, so not to monopolize the conversation, but when it comes down to Diddy, what he did was wrong. If you're going to press charges, and press charges on him, bro. Like, this is he signed up for that. When you become an American citizen, this is what you sign up for. However, I feel like there was a lot of people in that world, and he used to always say, if you look at some of Diddy's his older interviews, he says, well, in my world, you're absolutely right. There is a whole separate world that we don't know about, where a lot of things that we may not deem as acceptable is acceptable. And these things we gotta, and now that I feel like that world now is being exposed, and and none of us if we're not in that world, we know nothing about that. But we do know that there's reports of young girls who are getting bussed in, and as they're walking in, they're getting their IDs or whatever, hold it out the door. So they in that world, you know what you're doing. Now, I'm not saying there's nobody at fault, I'm not faulting them or blaming or nothing, but I'm saying in that world, you know what's going on in that world. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think now that role is being exposed, and now we have to look at it and say, wow, this is real. This is really happening. And those of us like myself who have daughters have to reckon that, like,
Yeah.
hey, what if that was my daughter? And that's why,
Mhm.
I mean, I know what I would do if I saw a video and that was my kid. I don't care if my daughter ain't telling me and it was 15 years ago. Shit. It just is what it is. Whatever needs to be done will just be done.
I hear that. Yeah. To,
So I
to
don't
speak
know.
We gotta do what we gotta do to protect our families.
always.
So are we excusing what the bro did? Nope. And if
Mm-mm.
brought up on charges, let him be brought up on charges. You know what I mean? The apology wasn't for me. He ain't do nothing to me. The apology, like Cam said, was for Cassie. And so she got a couple million apologies from what I understand, and that doesn't negate anything that happened. I'm just saying that just it is what it is. And hopefully she's healing and she has an opportunity to. I mean, this is almost like a trauma dump. Hopefully, she's not even watching TV because now she got to see this over and over and over again. She got to relive that moment. It's being played on all the CNNs and all the YouTubes, and I hope she has some type at this point, some type of media block where she don't gotta see this thing over and over again, because that would be wild to see one of your lowest moments, one of your most vulnerable moments, or moments where you where it was life threatening to some degree, fight or flight, fighting, and you got to see that over and over and over again on outlets, and then hear people pontificate on it over and over again and speak on it. I just feel I wouldn't want to be her right now. That would be wild. I'd be trying to be on the island somewhere with no Wi-Fi, no nothing, just me and the beach and the fishing pole and the ATV.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We good. I don't got here nothing right now. Y'all handle that. I'm good.
You know, speaking of music, what kind of music gets you vibing, Brian? I heard you say a little bit about Macklemore.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know, because I've been doing sound healing work for the past, 9 years. I've kind of pushed away from like I don't know, like just popular music stuff as much. I still listen to all of it and I appreciate all of it, and I love when some good things come through and that are like powerful powerful songs. Like the sound healing work that I do is about using the vibration and the emotions and the intent in what we create to help people shift and realign themselves. And that's what musicians do. All musicians are shaman, whether they want to admit it or not. They are retuning and sculpting how other people's realities show up. And that's why it's really important that we are more mindful and more sovereign and more um, able to control our whole selves while we're making that music. There's some really great artists like Tool. Tool is one of my favorite bands. The lead singer from Tool, Maynard, James Keenan, he has a couple other bands that he's been a part of, and so like he did this tour called Sesenta because he just turned 60. Like we're all getting old here, and so his one of his bands called Pucifer, like they played with another band called Primus from the 90s, and Maynard's other band, A Perfect Circle, and they're all like really different types of bands. So it was really awesome. They played together and then they jammed together. So they created like a cohesive unit between their songs, and they play like three of their own songs, and then like they came together at the end and they played this one massive like kind of jam session together, which was really cool. But they're all like like they're 90s bands essentially. That's when they got big, right? So Tool was they're called progressive metal. So like they were really dark and like intense when they first came out, with like really like kind of like um really like deep gritty things they were dealing with, in their
Right.
songs and their work. And then like as they've grown, they've literally progressed and kind of like evolved as people and as a band. And now they're like really
So
spiritual.
how have they inspired you?
Oh, with their transformation. Like the album from like 1996, 97 um uh was totally transformative. It brought me into other realms of things, like the artist Alex Gray, who's a metaphysical transpersonal like artist who paints like reality at multiple different levels. Like he's really amazing. He's done their album covers for the past 3 or 4 albums that they did. Like they're just really like powerful in how they address and work with all these big topics. Like
I got a
so.
quick question for you, right?
Yeah, what
So,
you got?
have they had any collaborations with any hip hop artists?
Um, I don't think that Tool has done anything with the hip hop artist. I think that would be a really cool
Okay.
mashup, and I bet Maynard would be totally down for that. Like the band that he brought in for his little birthday tour thing he did, it was called Primus.
Yeah,
And Primus is, have you ever heard of Primus?
Optimus
I
Primus.
haven't.
Right. But Primus is it was a like a they were called grunge, but they're really like kind of experimental. The main lead for the band, like you usually have a lead guitar, right? It's a lead bass.
Right.
the bass player, Les Claypool, is one of the best bass players in the world, and like he drives the songs. Songs are almost like he's just kind of like he's such a great bass player that like the songs are just kind of like ad lib to the music.
And
The
this is the
music
band
carries all of
This is the band Primus you're speaking of?
the band Primus, yeah. And so they're so good musically. They're just really dense musically, and that's kind of like what Tool's like too. Like they're just really dense with the depth of the music. And like when I say that, I mean like the way that the composure of the different scores in their music. You know, like the way that they like
Yeah.
arrange it. Literally, like the key signatures, the way they move back and forth between different times and different rhythms. It's really dense, and it helps carry, like, you know, you can make the words simple if the music's really really dense. It's almost like the reverse, you know, like you get a really good hip hop or rap tune, you can put a really simple beat to it, but you can put a whole bunch of dense words on top of it. You know what I mean? You can layer
Well,
in.
just so you know, man, you got a music connoisseur over here in the brother J.E.
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah. I'm yeah, that's what I said. So, like, have you ever heard of the Icaro?
No.
It's a Icaros. If you get a chance, look them up. The Icaro are the medicine songs of the Shipibo, who are the Peruvian, one of the main Peruvian groups and tribes. And the Shipibo, the songs that they sing, because they sing the songs, the shaman of the tribe will sing the songs, and the songs are the medicine songs. Songs carry the vibration and the healing through them.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing, you know, when we're making music, when we're laying down tracks, when you're speaking these words for people, you know, because what are we doing? We're taking our thoughts, we're transforming our thoughts into words. Our words are creating actions. Our actions are creating all of our reality, you know?
Hey, Brian, let's talk about that. Let's talk about frequencies and words as it relate to music. We all know that words carry spells, and those words when they add frequencies. Tell me about how that mashes up to create music and create energies as it relates to music.
Oh, you can
And
feel it. You can
how
feel it in music. Yeah, yeah. Have you guys ever heard of Dr. Masaru Emoto? Check him out too.
Yes.
He does Messages from Water. That was the name of his work. They put it into a book at least. But there's a lot of studies that were done, and they're still doing a lot more today about the way water holds frequency. So the sound, how sound affects music or affects water. And, you know, we're made up of how much water? Like 80% water, our whole body. Like 90% of our blood is water. So like the vibration, like, is the molecular, like the way it shows up is the molecular structure of the water after it's been affected by the vibration, right? So what he did in the study is he would take like a little bit of water from a place and he would flash freeze it. So it would freeze it so fast that it would make it into a snowflake design. And the snowflake would form really quickly because of the super fast freezing effect, like what happens in the atmosphere. So as he would do this, he would study the way that the image would show up, or the snowflake would show up. So when they would play like heavy metal, like angry music, whatever it was, like it would show up really broken and fractured looking. Or if they spoke hateful words over the water, or if they even like taped a message to the side of the glass that said "I hate you," like "you are horrible," like you're worthless, those kinds of things. It would hold a frequency of broken pattern, in the way it would show up with the snowflake. Does that make sense? And so then when they would play classical music, Mozart, Beethoven, Bach, those kinds of pieces, or put words of affirmation like "I love you," "I appreciate you," "Thank you," "You're beautiful," those kinds of things. It would show up as these really intricate, beautiful designs, sacred geometry, looking a lot of like hexagonal patterns, flower of life type design.
Cymatics in physical reality.
Right. So the vibrational frequency that was held is what projects out into us. right? And so think about that when you're making music, or when you're thinking about music, or when you're playing certain music. You know, you can use it to shift. You know, we do it all the time. We don't think about it. You know, there's songs that get you hyped up for shit. There's songs that get you, you know, like in a calm mood. Sound
Music to
can
rock
change
to,
it.
music to fuck to, music to do all type of wild shit to, even music
That's
to
it.
calm, relax to, music to chill to, music to
Yep.
vibe to. Yeah.
Yeah, we use sound in everything. Sound is the other aspect of reality that we don't give it credit for. You know, something that I like to say and tell people and explain to them a little bit about is, you know, here's a quote. This one's mine. I'm claiming this one. Light is the sound that we cannot hear, and sound is the light that we cannot see. And I say that because I've had times in the sound healing work that I do, um, toning into places where there was a light, an electrical light. And when I would get up to certain frequencies, the light would either turn off or turn on depending on what was happening. And that was because my sound, my frequency, my vibrational quality would match what was going on in that electrical current, and it would amplify it. Uh, so yeah, all the weird things, right? I could sit and talk about that for a while too, if you want. But maybe another time we'll talk about that. But yeah, sound is just as powerful as light, and light is everything that we see. So sound is everything that we hear. You know, we make our way around environments with sound. You know, think about it next time you're walking around someplace, and what kind of sounds do you hear? You know, if you listen to an air conditioning vent in the ceiling, you know, it could be throwing off your whole day. You could be sitting in anxiety because something is just eating at you with a specific sound that you hear. You know,
Hmm.
it does good things and it does bad things, you know? So,
So there was stories, and maybe you can expound, and maybe you can speak more about this. There were stories that I heard about how sound was being used on the battlefields during World War One or World War Two or whatever. That they were using some sort of sounds, or not even sounds, but the lady would get on a microphone, I guess, and in English and say, "You're hungry," and they don't love you, and just kind of like saying a whole bunch of negative things to kind of
oh yeah.
to pull the energy or the morale of the troops down that were in the trenches. Can you speak a little bit more about that?
Yeah, that almost makes me think of like yeah, like smack talking in a game, you know. You talk somebody out of their vibe and out of
Yeah.
the sync that they're in while they're playing, it'll throw them off, you know. That's even we'll go way back. We'll go back to the Civil War, right? So like the rebel yell, the southern whatever people, when they would, that the weird rebel yell thing they talked about, they made a ride for it in some dumb amusement park here in Virginia. But the sound would throw people off, you know, and and like and that's a common, you know, it's like when somebody's going to throw a baseball, you say, hey batter, hey batter, you know, you're trying to like throw off the rhythm, the sync that the person's in. And so yeah, what you were kind of referring to is more like social programming, or like almost like a hypnosis type situation where they were trying to get the people to believe different things just from the sounds that they were hearing. Um, but yeah, and then that's all common propaganda stuff that we use all the time, you know.
So now, how did you determine? Because there was a lot of stories, even and can this and then is this even having an effect on you when you can play a record backwards and it has messages, and then when you play it forward, it's the song? I mean, does that really have an effect on you at all? These hidden messages, but the question I have for you is, how do we determine when these frequencies are being used for a nefarious reason, like when it's being used against you? Like, how what is there some tools that maybe myself and others, some listeners, can maybe start exercising to be able to identify when these frequencies are being manipulated, rather through music or commercials or through sound? How are we able to determine if these are being used against us and not for us? If these frequencies and sounds are being used against us and not for us?
I would make a start a practice for yourself noticing those things, insofar as like just anytime you're in a space where you're hearing certain kinds of sounds, get notice where you feel it in your body, because we feel sound in our body. Um, Notice where you feel it And like when you're listening to something that like hypes you up, does it hype you up so much it makes you feel anxious? Does it do some of the sounds that you hear in your environment make you feel like you don't want to be a part of things, or you're just kind of like spacing out with it? Like it's it's more of a you have to feel into it. That's and but that just takes noticing time. So when I say noticing time, I mean like take a moment and like really be aware of your body when these things are happening. Be aware of your breath. Does your breath change? Does the pattern of your breathing change? Does the way that you feel in that moment change based on what the environment is surrounding you? Like, like walking past a fire alarm, it feels really jarring, that kind of a thing. And even to speak a little bit more to what you said earlier with like them using things to like do like a brainwashing thing to people and like throw off their their gumption and their ability and confidence and want to fight. You know, they also have riot dispersal gear things they use now, which are just really extreme sounds that'll play and just make people push back because it's so intense. They've done that where they've surrounded a house and they played endless rock music at the house to make the people want to leave. They've done what else? There's a sound, and I heard this. I don't know the truth of all of it, but I feel like it's probably true. There's like a low, because when elephants speak to each other, they speak to each other in a frequency that we really can't hear. We only get like parts of it, but there's a tone that's really super low that'll make you like lose your bowels. Like that's how intense it is, and it's like one of those military like stopping things, like what they'll use to stop groups of people or something, make them all crap themselves. But yeah, there's all kinds of
That would be a shit show, I'm sure.
yes, it would. That's funny.
This is
funny guy.
but now you real quiet over there, man. What's going on? I need, because this music thing is crazy, because I think you're right, Brian. I mean, at some point your energy, you have to be able to know yourself. You have to be able to know, like you said, where you're at when things are happening, what type of sounds are making you feel a specific way. Like, I can give you an instance of something that made me feel like extremely dirty listening to, and it was Old Dirty Bastard second album. And I was reading in the magazine. I was younger then, but I was reading in the magazine where he was really like, later he was really smashing in the booth while he was recording. And so on this one song, he's really smacking cheeks. As a young, that affected me. It was not in no type of a. It was just not. I can't say in no type of erotic way. It just affected me like that's. Ugh. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well,
I don't
music's been used for a lot of that too, right? Yeah. You hear a certain rhythm and it sounds like some kind of uncomfortable. Yeah. Some inappropriate music.
It was just that there was a chick, and then I'll think about something different. Like, man, this chick is now got to go through the rest of her life knowing that she got
That's her
smashed.
sound.
Like, like, I don't know, man. I think about a lot of different things, but that just was like, I just don't know. It just made me feel a different type of way knowing that was really happening. Now, if it was like some people when they're acting, like, okay, voice actors, I guess that's one thing. Like, that's one thing, because you kind of know that it's made up. It's, it's okay. Now you said, okay, this, okay, we good. All right, great. But to know that was really like, like, yo, that shit crazy. I don't know. But that's true story. Old Dirty Bastard. I can give you the song, second album. It's crazy, man. Like, I'll find it. But there was a couple other songs that made me feel extremely like violent from Tupac. Just because we play what the people were violent. Yo, that doom, 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 doom. Man, that shit right there. Woo! Man, as a youngin, like now it's a different effect, because I was younger, had different views and whatever. But today I can still listen to it. But back then, that was really like grabbing my heart, like, yo, we gotta do something. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, just because we play what the people want. So you know what I mean? So I don't know that just that, but that pounding, that doom, 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 that just that bass was just crazy in that song. And then another song. Now I'm just going down memory lane. Now speaking of Tupac, B.I.G. He said, "Cause I'm a piece of shit. It ain't hard to fucking tell no more. With the goody goody. Like when this dude, another song, I don't want to live no more. Sometimes I kind of like even hate singing that verse, but the song is so dope. But I don't want to live no more. Sometimes I hear death knocking out my front door. I'm living every day like a hustle, another job to juggle, another day, another struggle. So that's Big. But the song is so dope. I know what it feels to wake. I know how it feels to wake up, fucked up, pockets broke as hell, nothing rock to sell. Like the song is dope, but the hook is just like, I want to be speaking that. You know, I'm kind of cool with living right now. I don't want to not live. You feel me? It's like so. It's just
Making sense.
they make you feel some type of way. You know, listening to these songs, they give you some type of feeling of when you listen to them. Biggie said some. He was talking about, you know, doing some fellatio on some women's his girlfriend's dad. I can't describe that. You know what I mean? So I kind of so for that reason, I can't even listen to the song because it's just the song is dope, but somehow we just gotta if we can just bypass that first little verse right there, we may be cool. Because it just like why? Like no, you know. You look good, but I wouldn't want to do nothing to your father at all when I can just do it all to her. Like, why would we want to involve that? You know what I'm saying? He said, when I met you, I admit my first thought was the trick. You look so good. I can't even say it because it ain't, I just can't. So it just is what it is. It's just so, it's like,
Hey Brian, is there some songs you've encountered with questionable lyrics?
Oh, tons. Yeah. Well, I was gonna when you were talking
made you
about
feel away, the lyrics that made you feel away, like gave you a
y'all ever
different.
heard two live crew bad as you want to be?
Oh, Two Live Crew gave me a lot of feelings.
That song just like broke all the barriers in my
Them
brain
gave
about
me so
like
horny. I'm like,
inappropriate
oh,
things. Yeah, that was
the girl who sings "Me So Horny" it has embodied horny, like me so horny, like
yeah, the
is
album.
the epitome of horny in that voice. If horny could be a voice, that's it. Like there's nothing. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
No, yeah, definitely. Yeah, that whole album was just like it broke all kinds of boundaries. I mean, yeah. But yeah, like all but songs do that, but then they also do like like I remember was it Ice Cube? Was it Cop Killer? That album? Like that album was intense. I got way into that for a little while
Too.
when
Remember
I was
Ice T had
little.
the rock album?
Hmm?
No, Ice T. Remember Ice T had
Oh
the
yeah.
rock album as well?
Oh yeah, yeah, he put some things in that. Yeah. Yeah, I remember him doing a couple things. Have you ever heard of Rage Against the Machine?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah, Rage like that. Like and it's interesting because like I
dope name too. I love the name of that band.
oh yeah, their whole thing. I was really kind of sad that they stopped making music. Like they they're all still around, but they like do their own things now. But like they were just powerful. The message and the way that they came out just all out, and like really embodied the idea of like using music to create change and to make people notice things that they hadn't been noticing before. And that's what this does. That's what we're doing. Like it's showing the world that there is something else. It's not just the things you see in front of you. It breaks boundaries between all kinds of things, culture, or with people, with the way things happen, with the way people interact with things, with the way that they show up for each other. Yeah, like I remember there's songs that'll make me cry, because they just have so many like either
Oh,
memories embedded in them or everything, and it's noticing those things. Like there's a song
I got
from the '90s. It was
hey Brian. Hold on, I got
REM.
one time, Brian. Hold on, one
Yeah.
bro. What
Oh yeah, go ahead,
that
go ahead. What you got?
cry, bro? And I don't even know why, but I do know why. But that song "See You Again," the
Mhm.
win for George Putin joint for the Fast and the Furious joint. Oh shit, that joint. Swoosh, that joint driving. tears is flowing. Sometimes I don't even be knowing why. I just be like, this song will just make you want to just tear up for some reason. To this day, that's a very emotional song. I think it came out because around the time, well, without getting emotional, I think around the time my dad passed away, I think that was more like little gut wrenching of it. It was a song that was very gut wrenching.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's just it's an emotional song. Whatever chord they was sitting, whatever they was trying to strike, whatever emotional frequency they was on that one, man, I think they really struck a chord.
Mm. Yeah, "Tears in Heaven" by Eric Clapton is one of those.
Oh, that's
That song breaks me every time. He wrote it for his son that passed. It was
oh,
real tough one. I mean, like, just it really gets you going, emotionally, you know?
Yo, I can play that song right now, put that on repeat. I have listened to that song on repeat back when I had it on CD, which was that whole before Spotify. Like that song, Tears in Heaven, the guitar, everything, just
Mhm.
it's
He
just that song. Yeah.
Eric Clapton's another one of those, like, he's like the Les Claypool guy for bass playing. Eric Clapton, like, he makes up his own chords for guitar, like, that's how amazing he is. Like, he's like one of those, like, he's the guy, you know? REM, Everybody Hurts, ever heard that song? That was a '90s tune. That got pretty big then. Everybody Hurts.
You guys sing the hook, bro.
Everybody hurts sometime, so
Oh yeah.
hold on.
We should be able to pipe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was a little
I
off, but
feel,
yeah,
I feel like it was. I feel like it was in a Stephen King movie soundtrack.
something like that. Yeah, it's been used in
Remember
things
the movie
before.
Stand?
I think. Oh,
It was like a horror
Philadelphia.
movie
You ever
sequence.
heard? There's a song. It's an opera song. It's called Nessun Dorma. When I was in
You talking about
high school.
Tom Hanks?
Say again.
You talking about Philadelphia with Tom Hanks?
Yeah, Philadelphia with Tom Hanks. And that movie, when they go and it's the song. He's like crying to it, but he's explaining the song. Um, it's called Nessun Dorma, and it means no one is sleeping. And it's like somebody's up late at night and they're like crying out to the world. But like, so when I was in band in high school, we played the song. Like we did this whole like operetta thing they did. I was in marching band anyway, but like, so but we had to play the song. So I remember them talking to us about the song and that, but I already knew the song pretty well because of that movie. But yeah, that's a really touching, just a powerful moment in the movie, and like movies really use sound, and the songs will drive the whole movie. Like I gotta throw some cool like love out to Trent Reznor. Ever heard of 9 Inch Nails? Ever heard of that band?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So 9 Inch Nails, Trent Reznor, the lead singer guy, he did all of it actually. There's not really like ever heard the band Filter?
No.
Yeah, but if you heard the song, you'd know their songs. Like they play them on the radio and stuff. Like if you want to take my picture, like you want to take my picture. Anyway, Filter, it was the backup band to 9 Inch Nails because Trent Reznor made all the music all by himself. Anyway, he's the musical genius. Totally one of those people. He um he made the soundtrack for the movie Soul. You know the movie Soul, the Disney movie, the Pixar
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, with the
Yes.
jazz.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah,
That
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Trent Reznor's got some really cool. He also made the soundtrack for The
What was
Crow
that movie
movie.
though? Wasn't that the jazz the jazz singer had died and went to heaven or something? Wasn't that the
Yeah,
story?
yeah. The jazz. Oh, he was a jazz musician. He was a piano player. Yeah,
That was that.
that movie was awesome.
It was for kids. It was sad. I gotta watch it
That
again.
movie wasn't for kids. There was no way that movie was for kids. That was for all of us. That movie came out right when COVID happened too. They like just dropped it. They didn't even like put it in the theater, which kind of sucked because it was a great movie. But yeah,
I think it was on Amazon for free or something, or Netflix or something. I think it's
yeah,
on.
they like right when because it was during COVID when they released it. But
I think I'm
yeah.
gonna have to jump on that again and watch it from a different perspective. I mean, I like the movie, but I think I need to watch it again.
It's super deep. Yeah, there's some real deep things they hit in that movie.
Mhm.
But yeah, pretty cool.
So, J.E.
What up, bro?
What's the vibes, man?
Oh, I don't know, man. The vibes is chill. The vibes is refreshing. The vibes is life and living.
I'm with
Uh,
that.
the vibes is organic. It's homegrown. It's all natural.
I think that's a good segue from the cymatics, because they kind of fit together. When we're talking about the cymatics, vibrational frequencies, and then we're talking about life. We're talking about growing green things, and
Hmm.
for medicinal purposes, and for recreational purposes, and for all other types of purposes. you know, and so like right now for me, I've got uh, I've got a few runts, feminized photo growing, and then I've also got some apple fritter autoflowers growing. So you got anything growing over there, J.E.?
So, um, I don't know what you're talking about, but I do know that some seeds have fell into the ground that some animals may have ate. I don't know. I don't know. But I do know some good seeds grow good crops.
I would agree. So what about you, Brian? You do any growing?
Try again.
Actually, somebody just handed off a plant to me recently. So there's some Cheetos growing in my backyard. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, good stuff.
I
There you
think
go.
so.
Good stuff.
Let me give you the example of the ultimate utopia, right? Because I feel like if we're going to prep at some point, we're not going to have access to Walmart, and this may be a warning to everyone. So I think at this point, if you can just if you're whatever your vibe is, but the vibe is get a few chickens, some chicks, grow them up to be chickens. You have eggs, you got chickens running around. Grow you some vegetables, cucumbers, peppers, spinach. I don't like lettuce. I might like spinach on my salad. I'm a little different. Grow all your vegetables out, all your herbs, and then grow your little greenery, some cannabis, some cannabis. Get you some bees. Get you some honey, some raw honey. Got you some honey wine. So if this whole world shuts down, you're gonna be able to make you a chicken sandwich, a chicken salad, get you a glass of wine, and have some weed while the world is crumbling around you. But you're gonna be all right though, because you prep, you got yourself right.
But I, just in that same thread of what you're saying, like, there's a lot of big community movements happening with people really keying in because things aren't showing up very well right now. And with the world happening, especially Hampton Roads, this area, I'm not sure if you guys are in Hampton Roads, right?
Speak
Yeah.
on it.
I mean, I don't know about you, but being, within 20 miles of the largest naval base in the world is probably not the best space to be in the United States,
Mm.
especially probably the most heavily armed area of the country is probably right here. Um, so yeah, it's a scary place. So deep community is really important, like so people growing together, like and not just growing that, but growing everything. Like you're saying, like grow, like you get your neighbor to grow some green beans, get your neighbor to grow tomatoes. Like you grow eight tomato plants, and these tomatoes
Yeah.
grow well, and we all share together, and we all have like community picnic at the end of the season or something. Like that's the kind of things we need to build into. And we need to get comfortable with that and get comfortable being around each other, like I was just thinking the other day, like like across the street from me, we have like I have an Islamic family that lives across the street from me. Like I really want to go and like connect with them, and so they feel like they're accepted, and that that there's nobody fighting against anybody here, and that we're all Americans, and that we need to stop the bullshit that sits with the distractors that they put against us, I just think it's important that we address that, before things get stupid, and because that's what happens when we've been separated enough, and people make that their thing, and they use that against us. So yeah, I don't know. The more we can all figure out how to work
Right.
together.
Well, Brian, I really want to thank you for coming on the platform, man. You gave away some great jewels and gems,
Absolutely.
and hopefully every week you're gonna come back and give us some more, man, because the community needs what you just gave, bro. J.E. and I are so thankful for the time that you gave today. Before you go, if you don't mind, man, tell the world how to get back in touch with you, how to support all of your ventures that you're working on.
Yeah. Well, we're doing a lot of things. The website that I put underneath my name is the Sound Healing Conservatory. That's a right now it's the organization and the Sound Healing School where I teach all the different concepts, a lot of the things we talked about today, and other things, and how to play sound healing instruments, how to use your voice for healing, how to do all kinds of really cool things with sound and music. Let's see what else. We have a school that we're creating. We've had some intentional community ventures we've worked with. Um, yeah, just check out my page on Facebook, Brian Egan. The people on my page would be seeing this on YouTube for my Just Be YouTube page, which has about 60 or so sound healing and different spiritual concepts and talks and things like that that I've done. My church organization that I created last year, spiritual organization, is called Ascension World Eco Campus, and we're bridging and making that get bigger and bigger as we go. We're a year and a half into that. The more things that we can do to bring everybody together, the better we can all be. So thank you guys for letting me go on the show here with you, and I'm definitely down with coming back on again. I think it'll be fun. I really appreciate your perspectives, and I think it's awesome. And I just yeah. So other things that I do, I'm also a U.S. history teacher. So when you were talking about all the deep, dark crap that we have in our history, because we are a fucked country, and we need to do some big, big work to make some shit right, really fast. Like a lot of people I gotta get really cool with a lot of stuff really quick if this shit's gonna work. So every way that you guys can help and we can work together, I'm totally down for that. So thank you for letting me be on here with you.
Gratitude.
Thanks, bro.
Take care, brother.
Yeah, take care.
Yeah, man. So what's the vibes, bro? We had some great messages from our brother Brian, but yeah, we moving forward, and
That was a lot of information on one time, bro. I was vibing,
yeah,
and
a lot of great information.
definitely
Very
wasn't
valuable.
that. It definitely, I wasn't ready for that amount of information. That onslaught, like whoo, it was like whoa, and it was dope. It's good shit. Yeah,
Yeah, no joke. Yeah. We need that on a regular basis, right there. Obviously in bite-sized pieces, but
that,
definitely needed though.
but he was, but he left on a good topic though, because good points. What do we do? Society. He knows about U.S. history.
Right.
Solution would be right. What do we do? How do you resolve?
Let's dive into that. You got the floor.
Let me see how I can say this. And I'm gonna need your matter of fact, Ferdinand. Ferdinand. Let's do this. Because there has to be a remedy. There has to be a resolution. There has to be, okay, how do we fix this? And I want your input on it. I don't want to, I'm trying to formulate this to where I can say it and it resonates.
Okay.
Ultimately, point being is this: some things need to be like this. If an iPhone or an operating system on the phone needs to be updated yearly and you get more features and you get more things, ultimately that operating system is adapting to the user. And I don't think maybe we're in a position with our current structure that it's not adapting to the users. And so at some point, the structure, and you have a lot of people who want to hold on to the way it was. We got to keep it the way it is. This is, and there are certain people who just are like, it's cool to just tear some, the dismantle it and put it back together. What we know today. A lot of changes would need to be made. So, do you want to fight that battle of trying to be that liberator, that one that says we're going to put it all together, or do you want to just say, how about we just fade? How about we just get our own shit, get our own piece of land somewhere and form our own situation and
I
figure it
mean,
out?
that's one of the better things to do is what you just said.
Why assimilate? Just disseminate. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's get up out of here. Okay, let's go to our own little situation and see how
I
we
mean,
do.
the reality that we got to face is this nation was built upon deception and lies.
Preach.
It's just facts at the end of the day. It's no hate. It's just reality. I've done so much research on this nation, and when I say this nation, I'm not talking about this land. I'm talking about this corporation. I'm talking about this business entity that we call the United States of America. And when we look at that for what it is, we can understand why the people are operating the way that they are. We can understand why agriculture moves the way that it does, why industry influences the way that it does, the political space and the religious space as well, the educational space as well, right? So these different areas that are kind of important to the infrastructure and social economics of our people. These are things that we need to take control of. And it wouldn't even be that difficult to do because it just requires us to stop participating and then to participate in something else that we create.
And us participating with each other to rage against the machine.
That's the thing. I don't think we need to rage against the machine at all. I think all we need to do is like, all right, so this is what's happening, right? So imagine it's like 100 of us all standing here like this, right? Almost like we trying to touch our toes, right? Well, what's happening? There's a board game being played on our backs, right? Well, the vast majority of us have gotten comfortable bent over like this. But the moment we stand up, Monopoly is over, right? Well, this is, we don't need to fight back. We don't need to rage. We don't need to do none of that. All we got to do is stop participating. Participating is buying Tide or whatever type of laundry detergent that you may be buying at the grocery store. Participating is buying from the grocery store, period. Participating is using store-bought fertilizers and all this other kind of stuff, right? And then there's a number of other ways that we participate. But the moment we stop participating, we realize, okay, you know what? These things that we were buying, they were essential. Well, we got to we got to have these in the house. So now we find people who are aligned with our communities who provide that type of product, and we spend with them, right? And then what happens now, we're building community and we're building group economics. And then when we have these politicians who we're raising up and we're saying, "Hey, listen, go get this for us on Capitol Hill." Now they got to take it serious. Well, why? Because we have some actual power behind us in group economics. Without group economic power, there you don't get anything. in a political space, because there's no need for them to follow through with any promises that they make for you. You can't do anything. You don't control water. You don't control food. You don't control industry. You don't control travel. Without some type of control of the basics of community, like we're at a disadvantage. So these conversations become extremely valuable, because we're raising awareness, we're bridging community. Like these things are necessary.
Okay. There's a lot to unpack there, sir. Let's start with group economics. I would have to say we have been aware of the term group economics for quite some time. Enough time for that to have been established. And it has not been on a large scale to the overall positive benefit of so-called.
I would say that's incorrect, not to be disrespectful, but we have had it happen. We've had those communities systematically burnt to the ground.
Speak on it.
And it's been more than just Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's many other Black Wall Streets all over the nation. And some of them were burnt to the ground. Other people, other situations, very specific leaders were hung from their neck in the middle of the forest while their feet was being burnt at the same time. So there's a lot of different things that have happened to tear down these communities that have fit what you're talking about. Where we've had it on a large scale, but every time we get it on a large scale, we didn't properly build the security to be able to protect the wealth.
There's a lot to unpack there from U.S. history. All these, and
trust me, I can go much deeper in U.S. history. I'm just barely scratching the surface right now.
I'm more interested in how we make for a better U.S. future.
A better U.S. future requires us to stop poisoning our people in the grocery stores and poisoning our people on media with a bunch of advertisements that don't fit their microbiome, that would help them to be healthy and whole on a consistent basis. If you have an infrastructure of a nation that feeds their people poison, there's no getting better until you fix that part.
Yeah.
But the people have to stop participating. As long as the people participate, that means they're going to the grocery stores, they're purchasing food. Do they actually have to do that? Absolutely not. Is it more convenient? Yes, right? But there could be some balance there. Maybe there's certain things you do buy in the grocery store. Maybe like you need some salt and some pepper. You go and get it in the grocery store. Maybe you need some toilet paper. You get it from the grocery store. But maybe you start getting it from the grocery store that of the person that you actually know the owner of, and they might charge 50 cents more for the toilet paper. You buy the 50-cent more one because that builds community.
So is there something? I mean, apparently you have identified an issue. So what will be the resolution?
The resolution is knowing thyself. At the end of the day, every sage and yogi and spiritual leader that has ever, that we've ever read any of their doctrine. It's about understanding the duality, understanding the male, the female, the positive, the negative, but also understanding knowing thyself within that duality. And when we know thyself, we start to develop integrity to trust thyself and then have courage in thyself. And as we have all of that, now the way is revealed. It in a black and white world, it looks like red and yellow neon steps on this yellow brick road toward everlasting life more abundantly.
This is so. I, I like how poetic you made that sound. So actionable items would be if they're poison and if they, and we have to identify. We got to stop saying they. We have to actually identify who they are. In most homes, I will have to, and of course, some percentages can be pulled up. There's some land in the back, and that could be useful. There's a lot of urban farmers. I saw a guy who said, "Man, shoot, even my front yard I got potatoes growing and stuff." Like, I'm like, that's what's up. Using every last bit of that land he had to produce food, and I like that. So, um, we can just like you said, don't participate in what they're given. Don't participate. Just ultimately, you know what? I'm cool. Like I just grow my own shit. And now I've been juicing heavy lately, bro. And starting to grow my garden. It's just feeling. It's just good. It's just good feelings knowing like this is my stuff. I grew it. I know where it came from. That's the benefit to if you're going to grow your legal cannabis in areas and states where that's legal and you have all the permits and things to do so, where it's not going to be criminalized and you're not going to be put in handcuffs because you're doing what's natural. And weed is essentially what it is a weed. Um, you want to be able to know that you not a lot of chemicals and shit was put on it, no extra little this and that. You just want to know it was what it was.
Facts.
You want to know that you're getting pure premium, like you're not getting poison, you're not getting massive headaches from it. It's just a nice, good, a nice, good medicine. you know?
Facts, man. I'm with you 1,000%, man. It's an amazing feeling to grow your own food and to cut your grocery bill in half, or cut it more than that for a certain amount of months per year, where you're going to get a lot of sunlight and a lot of rain. So I encourage people, as many as possible, to get out there and garden, because it's bigger than money, for real. Like, money is a great piece of it. You save a lot of money when you garden, but the even better piece is you're eating like you're eating the fresh vegetables and fruits from the ground. It's going to be one of the most nutritious things you could put inside of your body. Right after you wash it, you cook it, or you chop it up into a salad or whatever within, like 12 hours of picking it, 24 hours of picking it, and you're eating live food. This is what most of us are missing, is eating live food. Most of us are eating dead food, and
Mm,
we want to be alive. So we're eating dead food, and then we might be putting on a lot of makeup, or dead food, putting on hair, eating dead food, and then not exercising, not drinking no water, right? All of these different things is hurting us. It's not just hurting us in self-esteem and self-identity and things of these natures. It's also hurting us as far as not getting proper sunlight to those areas where we probably shouldn't have somebody else's hair there, or getting sunlight and oxygen to those areas where we might have Fenty or we might have Maybelline or whatever, right? But the point that I'm trying to make is like there's some changes that we need to make, you know, and the only way that that's going to happen is first we have to purify ourselves, white as snow, just like the Bible talks about. But this is at the spiritual level. So to achieve it at the spiritual level, we especially have to achieve it on the physical level. That means fasting. That means detoxification. That means living within the 6 keys of life: nutrition, water, sunlight, exercise, sleep, and goals, and having balance between those. And then what happens is we manifest the Holy Ghost. We feel light as a feather at that point because we start going through regression and reframing a perspective on trauma. It naturally happens because of how strong we are now, because we have let go of things. Well, first it's going to be a let go of sludge and obstruction in the gut. But we're not going to realize that that obstruction in the gut is tied directly to mental and spiritual bondage.
Whew, bro, you said a lot there. Said a lot.
I'm just giving away the secrets. I'm just giving away the keys. I'm just giving people practical ways to get to everlasting life more abundantly. Most of these preachers, they teach this information, but they teach it in a way where it's so mystical and it's so mystified. And this information is not mystifiable, really. It shouldn't be anyway. This is all things that can be done. Everything that we saw, that we read in the Bible, the Quran, the teachings of Buddha, the clay tablets about the Anunnaki, all of this is doable in real time. It just requires understanding how to achieve it in a practical sense, even though it requires spiritual, mental, and physical balance and alignment.
Because you know where I want to go with this conversation, but I think we gotta save it for next Tuesday.
All right,
I
that's
think
cool.
I got because we definitely gotta talk about
Shout out to Just Be. Appreciate you.
biodynamic. The resolution is Marxism in its pure form. It becomes a rainbow bridge. Gotta explain rainbow bridge.
We gotta get Just Be on the show next week, Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just Be. Make sure you're here. We gotta unpack what you're talking about. We gotta have a conversation. We gotta go deep. No Diddy.
Definitely not. Yo, there was the resolution. I just feel like there's a lot of land on this earth where if you're charismatic enough or got enough resources or enough gumption to find your tribe, and your tribe is the people who resonate with your belief, just find your little piece of land. There's a lot of land on this earth, and just like somebody discovered it, you can discover some land as well and build on it and build out a tremendous community. And because maybe the reason why we don't know where to guide society or how to evolve into or progress is because we don't see the example. And maybe you are the example. Maybe someone watching or whatever is like, you know what, I'm gonna just make I'm gonna be that example of building a community that can work, a case study, so to speak, where it could be looked at like, yo, this is working, see what we've done. And I'm sure there's probably a lot of these instances happening. Like, right, I knew Just B was Brian. I knew that there's a lot of instances where um yeah. So again, there's a lot of instances. I lost my train of thought. That was I was supposed to here read the comments. I lost my
That's what's up. Hey, Brian, shout out to Brian, man. Yo, yeah, man. You got some great ideas, man. We ain't laughing at you. We laughing at the thankfulness that we got for people believing in us. So appreciate you, man. And we definitely gonna talk about this.
I think we might have something here. This was a good chat, but we, you and I for that we gonna talk and vibe anyway. So I mean, this is just like letting people into the regular conversations. Try not to. I don't want to give up too much of the. You feel me? I
The secret sauce, right?
try to come across as I don't know enough. I don't know nothing. I know enough. Maybe I don't. Maybe I do. Who knows?
Hey man, yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do, right?
But at the end of the day, this conversation was it was good. I think that
Yeah.
just recapping on just what Brian brought to the table was just as myself as a music lover, I would say that because music is just my thing. When it's all said and done, I could drive, turn on the music, bruh, put it on cruise control. That's the greatest ever, bro. Taking a drive with a dope ass playlist. And I got some playlists on Spotify. Matter of fact, if you're listening, driving smoke, playlist on Spotify. Might have to get a link. I have to put the link out there. Yeah, I got one of the ultimate driving smoke playlists with some bops on it. Yeah, I ain't even gonna hold you. And I put that in the nice little sound system. Put the cruise control on. Guy put the air on 70. I keep mine on 70 because it's just the perfect. It's just and then keep it like around low. Just get you a nice little breeze while you drive. You don't gotta
Oh,
keep
not 70.
chilling. Keep it on 70. Give you a nice little
Yeah,
breeze. Don't put it all the way on high. Get about 3 dots in, and then let it just get your nice little air freshener or whatever. And then get you. So if you got the kind of car that has the seats where you press the button, it can go from whatever position. Hit that button and go into the little cruise. I got the cruise control position. You feel me? Just boom, that junk goes back. Turn the music up. Spark what you gonna spark or whatever it may be, and let that music bump and enjoy the ride, bro. To me, that's just the best ever. Car trips, bruh. I prefer that over driving when it's all said and done, bro. Because I prefer that over flying because flying, swoosh, you're not able to be as comfortable in my opinion flying. It's just you can't control the environment. You can't control your atmosphere. In your own car, you can control that. You can control how cold or hot you want it to be, how music up or low, what you want to do in there. You can, you're able to stow away whatever you want to stow away. It's just pack what you
right.
pack. You feel me?
Well, you know what? Check this out. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna come back to this. Next week, we're gonna have a part two. This we're gonna dive deeper into this topic, and we're gonna revisit all of this. Big homie J.E. in the building. Jet Vibes Tuesdays, 10 p.m. Like, share, comment. We got the big homie Jay in the building. What's going on, man?
We got Ferdinand in the building. What's going on, man? And we out of here, bro. I think I done expelled all the battery, all the juice in my battery, bro. I don't think I got anything left. But this is a great conversation. I'm looking forward
Facts.
to week. Brian, thanks, Brian. Shout out to Brian for giving us information, man. I think we got a lot more information to grab about it, Brian. I think it's gonna be give me a week to get some questions together. I think next week we're going to enrich the conversation, no doubt.
Facts. All right. Hey, thank y'all. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. All of the interactions. Appreciate you. Next week, Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we out.